Welcome to Cooking with Glenn and Katie.
Today we are going to be learning how to make Dad's famous bagels, which my nieces and nephews, Dad's grandkids, they always call Dad Ba instead of Gramps or another term of endearment. So we have nicknamed the bagels Ba's Bagels, and they're phenomenal.
Katie, I can't wait to show you how to make the bagels. I know you love them. So let's get started.
Okay, sounds good. Let's go.
The first step is to proof the yeast. And so to do that, I've microwaved 1 1/3 cups of water in my microwave for 1 minute. I've done it so many times, I know that will be probably around 100 degrees. So let's check. So I've got a thermometer here. I'll put it in the water, and then it will show what the temperature is. That's perfect. 113 degrees, that's great. I'm going to add this warm water to the mixing bowl. It'll cool off just a little bit when it gets in the mixing bowl, and I'm going to add 5 teaspoons of sugar. Yeast loves sugar, and that will make it grow very rapidly. So I'm going to stir it up and mix this in here. We'll mix rapidly because the water is warm. And now I'm going to put in 1 tablespoon or 1 packet of instant yeast. And I'm going to use my whisk and whisk it together. And then we'll let it set for 10 minutes. One thing I like about this recipe is that you've got some wait time. And so you can do things and it kind of shortens the time for you, and you don't have to prep them beforehand. So I'm going to get some bread flour out. I need 3½ cups of bread flour. I'm going to get a tablespoon of oil, and I'm going to get 1.5 teaspoons of salt so I can add it in 10 minutes. The yeast has gone crazy. It's been 10 minutes, and look at all that foam. Can you see that? Look at all those bubbles that it's making. So this is great yeast, and that's what you're looking for. And now I'm going to be putting the components of the bread. I've got 1 tablespoon of oil. This is canola oil, but you can use any kind. The next ingredient, I'm going to be putting in 3½ cups of flour. This is bread flour. It's very important that you buy bread flour. And in the middle of it, I'm just going to put in 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So I'll put the rest of this in here. I've got a new best friend. It's my KitchenAid mixer. And so we're going to use it to knead the bread. Mix it and knead it. This is how I do it. I've got the KitchenAid here. I'm going to put on the dough hook. So that dough hook's on. This is all together, ready to go. Put this in here. I will lower the hook in here. I will lock it in place, and I'm going to turn it to the slowest speed possible, and it's going to start mixing it, and after everything's kind of mixed a bit, I will turn it on too. I'll turn it up just a little bit. I put it to the next setting, and this will continue for 8 minutes. This process has taken about 5 minutes so far. I want to point out something. Note that the dough is not sticky. If at this point it's sticky or it's stuck to the bottom, you want to put 1 teaspoon of flour in there. And you add 1 teaspoon at a time until the dough looks like what you see here. It's been 8 minutes. So I'm going to take the dough, I'll lift it up, and I'll slide this off the dough hook. It's feeling very good. It's not sticky. It seems perfect. So I'm going to move it. I didn't add any extra flour or anything. And this is what you need, what it needs to look like. And if you do it by hand, you will knead it until it's like this, where it doesn't stick on the counter, because you don't want to add any extra flour on the counter. You don't want to put any oil on it. We're going to let it rise on the counter. So you can see how this is. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a ball. Squeeze it in. Now I'll tell you right now, this is not going to have every bagel looking the same. There's no way. I can't do that. So it's not going to look like store-bought. It's going to look like handmade. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this ball in half. So I've got 2 pieces. And now I'm going to form this in a ball. And I'll form this one in a ball. So we have 2 balls. They look about the same size. Okay, they look the same size. Now each one of these balls I'm going to cut into 4 pieces. So I'll cut this one in half. I'll set this one aside. And then I will form a ball again. I'm going to form these into two balls about the same size. Now I'm going to cut each one of these in half. I'm going to kind of squeeze it together like that, and then I start rolling it. I like rolling it in my hands, but sometimes I'll put it on the counter. I roll it on the counter. There's not a big seam here. That's what you're looking for. I'm going to put this on here. There's another one. Okay. Again, you press it in, and then you roll it in your hands like this. Or you can roll it on the counter. And you're trying to get the creases out. And doing it that way, you don't have your big of a crease, and I'm just going to put it right there. So we have 8 bagels. Notice that they're kind of uniform in size. You just wait. I think it's going to change, and some will be bigger than the others. But what I need to do is I'm going to take this towel. It's a clean towel. I'm going to put it in the microwave for 30 seconds, so it'll be warm. Then I'm going to put it on top of here, and we'll set a timer for 20 minutes. I just took the towel out of the microwave. I'm going to put it on top of the bread balls. Well, the bread is rising, and we have about 20 minutes. And during that 20 minutes, I'm going to get some water boiling. I've got a pot, and in fact, here's my water. It's coming to a boil. So about a pot that size, you've got a lot of surface area. And then you need to get a pan like this and put a light coat of oil on it, or a piece of parchment paper. But I've got this silicone mat that I always use. It works well. It's been 20 minutes, so let's look and see if the dough balls have risen any. Look at that. They have doubled in size, and they're all pretty uniform. I'm going to take a dough ball. I will push it down. That takes all the air out. And then I am going to form it into a ball. I know what 4 inches is. This is 4 inches, and I know it's going to fit right on there because I do it quite often. But you want it to be 4 inches round. And then you put your finger in this very center of it. You see it's in the very center. And then I lift it up. And then I twirl it around in my fingers like that. And then I set it on the sheet here. And at this time, I also try to make it look round. And I'll repeat that with all 8 dough balls. This towel is warm. I just got it out of the microwave. I've got all 8 of them made. And they look kind of uniform, but don't worry about that. Just make them the best you can. That makes them unique. So I'm gonna let this sit for 20 minutes. And during that 20 minutes, you need to turn your oven to 500 degrees Fahrenheit and get that water boiling so that it can be boiling at the end of the 20 minutes. Now I'm going to make cinnamon crunch topping. To do that, I've got 1/4 cup of light brown sugar, and then I've got 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, and I've got 1 teaspoon of vanilla flavoring, and I'll just mix this together. Now this is the exact ingredients I put with cream cheese when I make brown sugar cinnamon spread. Exactly the same thing. It's been 20 minutes, so let's look at the bagels. Isn't that pretty? They are really pretty. But I warn you, when I put them in the water, they may deform a little bit. So the water is boiling here, and I'm gonna put the bagels in one at a time. I can probably put 3 bagels in. That's 1. You don't want them to be touching. Will not fit in here. That's 2. And I'll put the 3rd one in. And I'll set a timer for 1 minute, and then I'll flip them for another minute, and then they'll be done. This is going to make the outside of the bagel kind of tough. It's been 1 minute, so I'm going to flip each one of these. 1. Okay, I'll just flip them over. And we'll let them boil for 1 more minute. Now, it's been after this a minute on that side, so I'm going to flip it over to the good side and take it out. Now while I'm taking it out, look at the difference in the size of the bagels. They expand when they're in the water. Here are our bagels. I've got 8 bagels. They expanded in size. They're kind of wrinkled on the top, but when they come out of the oven, they're going to look beautiful. So again, those wrinkles will go away. It's kind of like magic. So let's go ahead and put some topping on them. I do this for every bagel, and if you make just plain bagels, this is the only step you have to do. This is an egg wash. And I've got this, and I try to put the egg wash all the way around it to make sure it fills all over. And I use 1 egg, and I use a whole egg, and a tablespoon of water. But if you want egg whites, then just use 2 eggs, and that will do the same thing. But I just use a whole egg. This first bagel, I'm gonna make Asiago cheese. This is a hard cheese, and I measure out 1/4 cup of Asiago cheese. I found 1/4 cup is just the perfect amount. You don't overdo and you don't underdo. So there's that one. I do the egg wash on a plate rather than on the cookie sheet because I like to keep it clean. This time I'm going to take this bagel, and I've got the cinnamon sugar mixture here. I'm going to turn this upside down and twist it around. Okay, I spread it out a little bit, and this is going to melt all over it. So that's plenty. This one's going to be jalapeno, and again, as on all of them, I've got the egg wash. And with the jalapeno, I put some cut jalapenos on the top of the bagel, like this. And then I get cheddar cheese. And this again, 1/4 cup. You have the same amount on here. 1/4 cup of cheese. And that will melt all over the place, so that's good. And then I get some jalapenos rounds, and I put them around like this, all over. I love a lot of jalapenos. And these are not too hot because I take the ribbing out and the seeds. If you want it hotter, you can add a couple seeds. And that's how it should look. This is a cheese bagel, and this time I'm going to use Colby. And now I'm going to put the everything spices on here. This is everything but the bagel spice. This will be a sesame seed bagel, a white sesame seed bagel. And the egg wash holds these seeds on. We'll put poppy seeds on this one. And the final one is one of my favorites. It is a mixture of black sesame seed, white sesame seed, and some flake salt. It's really good. So I'll put that on here now. I love the way it looks, the black and white. And then I love the taste of the salt on the top. I love salt too much, I think, but it makes it good. I'm going to take these to the oven and bake them for 20 minutes. I'm going to turn the 500-degree oven down to 450 degrees. Turn it down to 450 degrees, and then I'm going to put it in the oven for 20 minutes. And the rack's in the center of the oven. I set it at 500 degrees, and then right before I put it in, I went down to 450 degrees. That way it never got cooler than 450 degrees. Now look at this. These are beautiful. I knew they would be because I make them all the time. And there we go. Look at those. This one is the everything bagel. This is a poppy seed. The sesame seed. The two kinds of sesame seed, white and black sesame seed with the flake salt. This is the Asiago cheese. This is the Colby cheese. This is the jalapeno cheddar. And finally, I have the cinnamon crunch. This is quite a selection here.
Now I'm going to do a taste test. I took a quarter of the white and black sesame seeds and flake salt bagel, and I took that quarter and halved it. So I'm going to try both of these spreads. I'm going to get a little bit of the jalapeno spread. I love cream cheese. And then I'm going to get a little bit of the garden vegetable spread, so I can let you know my review on both. All right, I'm going to start with the jalapeno. Now, let's see how this tastes. That's amazing. The outside of the bagel has a nice texture to it, a chewy type texture. Not chewy, not the best describer, but it definitely has, from the boil, that more tough outer shell, and then the inside is nice and soft. Oh my goodness. And the cream cheese is fantastic. The salt and the pepper that were added to the jalapeno cream cheese is not too much. It's a perfect complement to the jalapenos. That's amazing. Now I'm going to try with the garden vegetable. I love the crunch of the vegetables. That would be a great thing any time of day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, snacks. It has the perfect flavor. These bagels are winners. I mean, look at that beautiful back, which is actually the top of the bagel. I love them. Definitely try making them. I'm gonna go ahead and finish eating these now. They're amazing.
taste the cinnamon sugar bagel, and I'm gonna see what it tastes like. Okay? First tasted very good. It's a little bit of crunch to it. They are very good, Granny.
Well, Katie, what did you think?
Oh my goodness, y'all, the bagels were absolutely phenomenal. I loved that bagel you said was one of your favorites with the two different types of, what were they, sesame seeds? The black and white sesame seeds and the flake salt?
flake salt, yeah.
Oh yes, the flake salt, absolutely phenomenal. Having both different types of cream cheeses. I'm a savory person, so getting to try the garden vegetable and the jalapeno cream cheeses were fantastic. And I think you loved the cinnamon sugar.
Yeah, the cinnamon sugar, I love that. My grandkids, that's their favorite. They love for me to do that on a Saturday or Sunday morning.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are good. And the jalapeno is, I can tell why it's Ray's favorite.
Oh, absolutely.
It's one of my favorites. So yes. I liked making all those. I could have made them all plain, but I like making a lot of varieties.
Yep.
And if I give them to somebody, they get to try them all.
Yep. Absolutely. It was so nice having those varieties for if you were having a party or, like you said, giving them away. So definitely try out this recipe. It was so easy and everything just worked perfectly as Dad, you described it. I mean, it was like clockwork. So I cannot wait to try cooking these bagels at my own house and seeing how they turn out. I think they're gonna turn out just as perfect. So,
I bet they will.
Well, we really appreciate you guys watching today. If you haven't subscribed, be sure to do so. We'd love to have you follow us and come along on this cooking journey with us. And if you enjoyed the video, give us a thumbs up, comment below, and don't forget to click the notification bell so that you're notified whenever we put out new videos. And we will see you guys with our next one.
See ya.